coming to you live today from KWSM Atlanta. This is our Atlanta office. I'm here with content editor Audrey.
Hi.
And content editor Brianna. And this is the time every week when we get together to talk about social media. What's new on the channels, anything that's changed, and how that's affecting the way we market on social media for our clients. We hope to share tips and tricks that you might be able to use in your own marketing. And we always start with the news of the week, and there's a couple interesting news stories out today, mostly that two channels have now made efforts to curb bullying online, which we know is a big problem on social media.
Right.
I know, Brianna, you have a child, and it's rampant with kids these days, right, on social media. So the first one is from Instagram, and they are making a filter. It's an artificial intelligence that reads the comment you're going to make on someone's Instagram picture. And if it detects any kind of harassment or hate language or bullying, it will say, are you sure you want to post that? And it gives you the chance to sort of like take a step back and rethink that and be like,
right.
No, I'm not going to post that. Or like, hopefully not, yes, I'm going to post that hateful thing. But they hope it'll make people think twice about posting nasty things on people's Instagram and maybe curb some of that abusive behavior that seems to happen on social media. Mm-hmm. And I think it happens because it's so anonymous, right? Even though we have profiles, it's so much easier to type something nasty than it is to say it to someone's face. It's like getting in a fight over text. It's so much easier to fight with your husband. I'm not saying from personal experience, just much easier to say nasty things on text than if I have to say it to his face.
Right.
Right? Internet trolls are something serious. But I definitely think this is a really, I actually think this is a good idea. I think that it's not necessarily filtering things so that people still have the option to say what they want to say.
Right.
That's really like kind of important to me. But it kind of makes people think like, is that really something that I want to say? So I think that this is good.
Yeah.
It's kind of like giving us the self-control we may not have naturally.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, and they've been testing this feature just for like a few select people, and they found that when they did give them the option, people stopped and thought, I don't know if I do want to say this, unless harmful things were said overall. So they've tested it, they know it works, and now they're going to roll it out everywhere.
I think sometimes when you say things spur of the moment, you don't realize how it comes across. And if my comment got flagged from the artificial intelligence to say this isn't very nice, I might think twice about what did I write there. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool. Do we have an idea, Audrey, of when it's coming to everybody? When could this be available to all of us?
I'm not sure. And they usually, if Instagram's the way they usually are, they test things in Canada and then they roll it out over here. So from what I understand, they've already started testing it, and it's going to be something that they're just going to go ahead and roll out, I would think by the end of this week.
Okay.
So you can check the Instagram-press.com if you want updates specific to Instagram. That's where they let you know when all of their features go live. They don't really do the detective work like we do on the back end, like finding out what updates are coming, but Instagram Press will always let you know when things are live and when you can take advantage of them.
Yeah, it's a good resource.
Mm-hmm.
We have some clients in Canada. Maybe we'll call them and be like, do you have it yet?
Yes.
Do you have it yet? Sorry, this is Finn, our office dog, and he was just making his appearance during the Instagram story. Finn is anti-bullying. That's his stance.
Yes.
So the other bullying or anti-bullying feature is on Twitter. And Twitter is now giving users the option to hide the replies on their post. So if I want to post something that could be inflammatory, I can hide it so that you guys can't reply publicly to the tweet. And I think that's a pretty good one too, right? Again, it's not censoring, but you can still say what you want. I'll see it, right? But the public won't see it.
Right. Yeah, and it's kind of funny that they rolled this out a week after we talked last week on the social media help desk about how they weren't censoring but making some tweets less visible if they thought that they contained harmful content specific to political figures. Now they're rolling this out and anyone can take advantage of this.
Right. And we had some mixed feelings about the political feature last week. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of making those tweets less visible.
Yeah, I think I've read within the past week that political figures have
Had some things to say.
agreed with how you feel, and so that feature is not in full swing right now. But this could be a way that they address it.
Yeah. But do you guys remember this? We talked about it last week, so go to YouTube and watch last week's show. But basically they were saying some tweets from political figures they were going to make less visible in the news feed so that they didn't anger people or get people riled up. And I, for one, thought that maybe that wasn't the right thing to do because Twitter's about free speech and they should post what they want. But now you're saying this allows people who think their thoughts might be controversial to sort of limit that back and forth that gets people all riled up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it could be good. I mean, anyone can decide to do this. So if I want to tweet, when Taylor Swift's new song came out for the Reputation thing, as soon as it came out, I remember I tweeted, I was like, I love it. And then, I had, 5 friends that were like, that was terrible, that was trash. And, I can hide that if I want, because Twitter is my place for me to say how I think. And, if I don't want them chiming in, I can just hide their replies. I see it. It doesn't go away to them. So, I don't know. I mean, it's just another way that Twitter is giving you back control over that piece. And maybe that comes after people feeling like they are censoring some things, and maybe they're trying to reaffirm, you as a user, you do have control over what you say.
You have the power, yeah.
What do you think about, I think that this is a really good thing, because I feel like sometimes bandwagoning is a thing. So you see, if it's something's really popular to say, or you just, jumping on one person, I think that that's a thing that is a really big issue in social media. I know there are times when Kylie Jenner posts something and the comments will say 30 times the same thing. And it's kind of what's the point? So I think that this might be a step in the right direction for Twitter as well.
Yeah. All right, well, they've issued a statement. Let me read you what they say. Twitter says, anyone around the world will be able to see and engage with hidden replies by tapping the gray icon that will appear. We want to be clear and transparent when someone has made the decision to hide a reply, and we'll be looking at how this feature gives more control to authors while not compromising the transparency and openness that is central to what makes Twitter so powerful. So they're saying you can hide it so not as many people see it, but if I really wanted to see those replies, I could.
Okay, so then that does align a little bit more with what we talked about last week.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess that that's probably looking the same. I know that feature right now, it's only in Canada again. Thank you, Canada, for doing all of our social media testing for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they got a cute president. So Twitter is anti-bullying, but that's not the only news about Twitter this week, because they've also unveiled sort of a new desktop design.
Yeah, so this is exciting. For anyone that's been in social media or had social media for a long time, the big 3 dogs, we all know Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and they don't look the same on desktop as they do on mobile.
No.
And often, they were made and optimized for mobile, and I think Facebook started on desktop. However, the other 2 started on mobile. Is that correct?
Right.
Yes. I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least for Twitter and Instagram, they have had quite the journey trying to make their desktop reflect just kind of the same features and usability things that the app has. So, Twitter has listened, and this is something that's come from years and years of people saying, hey, you shouldn't optimize your desktop to be more like mobile. People much prefer mobile, and so they finally listened, and if you log in today, you're going to see that it's different. In fact, it's so different, they're so confident you're going to like it, they already took away the legacy view. So, so that's
We're
changed.
just going for it.
Just going for it. But there's some really good things, and I know that some of the things is the top navigation bar. It's now the left sidebar, so that's kind of similar to how it is on the app. In the left sidebar, there's bookmarks, there's your list, and we talked about Twitter lists last week. Previously, that was just on the app, now it's on the desktop too, so that's really, really great. Your profile and a new Explore tab. It's kind of interesting that they're doing the Explore tab, because that's something that we take advantage of here on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because on Instagram we use hashtags, and we say that using hashtags is like dropping it into a bucket, and the Explore tab is a bunch of buckets, if you will, and so we're going to see that on Twitter. So I think it's a really smart move.
Yeah, I really like that Explore tab, because that is how people discover a lot of new content, and a lot of content for our clients on Instagram. And so if we can harness that on Twitter as well, I think not only as a user do I like that, because I can explore new things, but I like it as a marketer too, right? I like the ability to have our clients' content discovered by more people based on topic, or like you're saying, which bucket we drop it into.
Right.
I think that's pretty cool. What I don't know about is how many people use Twitter on the desktop. I wish we had stats on that. You do?
Yeah,
well, for work you do. Okay, but in your private life, at work we're on our computers all day, so I do use it for work there.
But
in your
at
private
work,
life,
on your personal.
You would be surprised how many people use Twitter desktop at work.
I agree.
You're saying people who are sneaking a look at their Twitter
well,
at
it
work.
might not be secret, but they shoot out a couple tweets, because being on your phone is a no-no in most offices.
Except ours, because we use our phones for work.
But that is, I think, a lot of the time where people are using desktop versions of websites to kind of be in the loop still, but not having to be directly glued to your phone at least.
Yeah.
It's funny because maybe this is an age difference because people my age I don't think are doing that. So I think, you know, maybe they're using their phones while they're out and about, but mostly they're tweeting before or after work. But your generation, it's really important to keep out on social media during the day.
Yeah, and I think that the desktop version was so bad that it just drove everyone to use their phone. It's the same way with Instagram. Like, you're not going to catch me checking my personal Instagram
on the desktop.
On a desktop.
It's terrible.
Ever. Like, even when I'm at home, because it's terrible. And there's there's a little bit of engagement, and they're working on it, but it's still not the same. And there's some things like on the app, a while back they released it to where you could see your tweets chronologically instead of the algorithm playing in, and that's also a part of this new feature too, which is another reason people probably would have opted for the app instead of desktop. Now if Instagram would just go back to that, we'd all be happy.
I do miss the chronological feed on Instagram, I gotta be honest.
They came out with an update, I don't know, maybe a year ago that said you could toggle between the two.
And I've never seen it.
Mark Zuckerberg, if you're watching this, we're on to you.
I was just gonna say, Mark, if you're listening, call us. We have some ideas for you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right? We'd like to tell you what you're doing wrong.
Absolutely.
All right, so is this a toggle where I can go from chronological to algorithm on Twitter?
Yes, it's actually
cool.
a button called Sparkle, which I'm a fan of.
Wait a minute. The button is called Sparkle?
It is.
Does it say Sparkle?
It says Sparkle.
And what will I do if I sparkle? Like, which does that give me?
And you can switch back and forth.
It just goes either way.
Yeah, and so it's your top tweets, so chronological or your top tweets, and your top tweets are based off of people that you've interacted with before. The algorithm. It's based off of what are you likely to interact with.
Right.
It's interesting.
You know, when I teach Twitter boot camp next, I'm gonna have a real hard time going, just hit the sparkle button.
Right?
Right? Like, I don't know. We might have to work on the naming. But good features, nonetheless.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and this will be awesome for businesses too.
It will.
It's going to help you be able to manage so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and now that we know people are checking your Twitter while they're at work and not supposed to be, that opens up a whole new audience.
I think I got some people in trouble.
That's good. That's right. I'm going to be calling all your friends later, see what their bosses think. Okay, and the next piece of news we have is for Snapchat. You guys are going to be the experts on Snapchat because I'm a little old. But they've launched creator shows, which is kind of like these like little mini bite-sized
series.
Television shows, right? Like series. So it's 3 to 5 minutes in 8 to 10 episodes. And they're getting famous people to do it, like Serena Williams, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then a lot of Snapchat, I guess these are famous Snapchat creators, Emma Chamberlain, Lauren Gray, Ricky Thompson. Mm-hmm. Those are people Snapchat users would know.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is interesting. I've been waiting for Snapchat to die for like years now.
You and me both.
And they keep reviving, and I think that this really could be their ticket to kind of getting back in good with a younger generation. So one thing we know about the upcoming generation, so Generation Z, right after us millennials, is that they love things in bite-sized clips. So they learn to think from the time that they were born in tweet-sized thoughts. Why would they want to sit down and watch a whole Netflix show? And so where millennials and even really young millennials really love YouTube, they can just spend hours. Mm-hmm. Gen Z gets a little bit more bored. They love video the same, but they don't want to sit there and, they don't want to watch a whole 3 seasons of Stranger Things because that's going to take them forever. One thing that they value is succeeding, and they don't love social media as much as us millennials do, which is interesting. But this is a really great way to cater to them because they can watch a full series in 3 to 5 minutes. You watch, I think it said what? I think there's
8 to 10 episodes, 3 to 5 minutes each.
Yeah, 8 to 10 episodes, so you can watch that in an hour. And
less than an hour, yeah.
Yeah, less than an hour, and see what Arnold Schwarzenegger's life is like right there in your phone. So it's actually, I think it's really interesting that they're doing creator shows, and that kind of reflects after YouTube creators and the success that we saw there with them. But it really kind of gives an authentic look.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was going to say that, surprisingly, I'm not Gen Z by a very long shot. However, Snapchat, not necessarily their creator shows, but they do have outlets like different news outlets who actually have snaps where they give you a little bit of information. And sadly, I don't know if this is a testament to my personality, but I get a lot of my news from Snapchat. That's the reason why I haven't deleted it yet. Because I'm able to get the headline the story and thought I can come to my own conclusion with my own thoughts in like literally a snap.
Brianna, does it direct you somewhere else? Like if you wanted more information, is there a place to go next?
Right. So you can go to the creator Snapchat and you can watch the story, and some of the stories, if they have more to say, they'll say swipe up, and then you can go to the website or to a more extended video or the article, and I usually don't though, because I usually can get it all in the snap.
Yeah, that's interesting. It'll be interesting. So like I don't have Snapchat, I never have, right? Because it's not popular with my demographic as much, and I just never, I was like you, I thought it would die, I just never got into it. But I'm wondering if with all this new content being created, and if they get famous enough people, is it a reason why more people would get on the app?
I think so.
Is it the opposite of dying, right? Have they found a way to revive themselves?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's been a lot of success in Instagram stories, and one reason is because it gives you an authentic look into your company, your brand, which is something we've talked about. We talked about it last week as well. And these videos are going to be shot the same way, so they're vertical, they're not horizontal, there's no production value in it. It's literally Serena Williams looking at her phone, doing a mini-series of her life. And people love that, especially the younger generation. They don't want to be sold anything unlike us. We're like, make it millennial pink and I'll take 10. They're not like that.
Have you seen one of these creator shows yet?
I have not seen one yet.
No, me neither.
I don't have Snapchat personally. We'll have to ask the Snapchat queen.
Brianna, could you look up the Serena Williams show for us later, please?
I haven't seen the Serena Williams show, but I have seen actually just yesterday the recap from VidCon.
Yes, that's where they were going to premiere this.
Oh, really? So I saw all the information from VidCon, all of the different influencers showing you their day-to-day, not their day-to-day, their hour-by-hour of VidCon and what they were doing, and it was actually really, really interesting. I want to go next year.
And talk about what VidCon is in case people don't know that are watching.
So VidCon is kind of like Comic-Con, which is like this big convention, but for YouTubers and basically video influencers. So was it held in Los Angeles this year?
I think so.
I think so.
Okay, I think it might be held in Los Angeles every year. But basically, it's this huge convention where all of the like top influencers and video YouTubers and things like that, where they meet up and they talk to you about their content and what's working for them and things like that. It's a really, really great convention.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Cool.
Yeah.
And if you want to see highlights, go to Snapchat. Right? All right. Very good. So good. Lots of interesting news this week. We'll keep you updated as things continue to change. But one of the things we started talking about last week that we're going to talk about a little more is making Instagram work for your business. Instagram is a hot channel, not only with millennials, but it's getting older, as all channels do. People my age jump on. And it's a great way to reach your audience. And so last week we talked about some tips for how to get in front of the right people, how to get more people engaged with your content. And we're going to continue that today. Brianna, you have some tips for how to make Instagram the most effective.
I do. So, of course, with Instagram, there are a lot of tips and tricks to bring people to your page. But that I think is really the biggest thing, is that you want people to come to your page, see your content, so that they can choose to follow you or they can engage with you. And I think that one of the biggest things that I feel like we tell you all every week, but it's really important, is to utilize hashtags. Like Audrey said earlier, that bucket, you want to put yourself in that bucket so you have more chances of being picked out of the bucket. And along with that, another one is location tags.
Yes.
I think that these are really, I think that these aren't as like maybe spoken about as maybe hashtags are, but they're also a really important, I think, part of getting out there in front of people who can follow you locally, and people who may be interested in the area that you're in, seeing what they can do. And so I think that that's a really good thing that if you're not utilizing, definitely try location tags.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk about what a location tag is. Is that where you put the little geofence or geopin on your picture itself? You said this is where the picture was.
Right. So you can do it two ways. Sorry, I'm thinking of Snapchat. No, you can't. You can only do it one way. When you're uploading like a picture to your traditional Instagram grid, when you're uploading, there is a place where you can put add location. And then it'll give you like a list of locations based on your GPS from your phone. If you have that setting turned off, then you can type in the address. And then it'll say like a couple of places you can do city, maybe the pizza parlor that you're at, the exact pinpoint place where you are. You can choose that place. And then you will show up on Instagram Maps. In addition to, you'll show up in people's feeds who are around the area near to that piece of content, if that makes sense.
Right.
It's another way to be discovered, right? By people who might be interested in that location or near that location.
Right. And if you're looking for something specific, like say we want to tag our location here, and you type in KWSM and it doesn't pop up, that's because it hasn't been created, and you actually have to go to Facebook and check in and create that location on Facebook for Instagram to even recognize it. So if you're frustrated because you're like, this is the name of my company, why isn't it popping up? I'm here literally, my GPS is on. Check in on Facebook and then maybe close out of Instagram and try it again.
Although if you happen to be coming to visit us, you would type in KWSM Atlanta and it does show up. I tag all our pictures that way.
There you go.
So swing by Sandy Springs, you can come visit us. All right, so location tags. Another thing that I like to do actually is use hashtags that are the location. Like the name of the city. I'll hashtag the name of the city in addition to topical ones, because I think a lot of people search for cities or things they're familiar with. So I like to do it both ways.
Very good idea. Another really good way to grow your Instagram account is to kind of cheat. Promote your Instagram on other platforms. So if you have Facebook and YouTube, I know a lot of YouTubers do this. If you have Twitter and Snapchat, cross promote yourself and say, hey, follow me on Instagram. Upload your at name on Instagram to all of your other social media accounts, and that's a really good way to get people to discover you and decide to follow you on other platforms. And then you can also collaborate with relevant influencers. And this is something that we like to, depending on the client, we like to offer as like a part of their strategy, because influencers are the new celebrities, in my opinion. I think that they have so much
influence.
Right, they do. They have what they say carries so much weight to so many different people, especially depending on their target audience. So there's mom influencers, and there's dad influencers, and there's young people influencers. There's all kind of influencers, people who like cars, people who like to hunt. So just depending on what your audience is, you can find influencers who talk to that audience and can, promote what you have going on, whether it be your product or your brand.
Right.
And, sometimes we broker deals with influencers for our clients, and there's a lot of ways to work with influencers, right? People think sometimes you have to pay them, and sometimes you do, but often we're able to broker deals that are exchange of free product or service in order to get mentions on Instagram, and that can be really lucrative for our clients. If you're giving away a certain beauty product or an apparel product that might be your thing, in order to get that influencer to wear it or use it and post content about it, that's sort of the gift that keeps on giving, because not only are you getting in front of their audience and their fan base, which will help you drive sales, you're also kind of creating content that you can then use on your channel later on. You have authentic content of somebody using your product.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of benefits to that. And it doesn't have to be super expensive, and I think that's a misconception. People think, well, I can't afford to pay influencers. Sometimes you don't have to.
Especially now that there's a thing of like micro influencers. I think that sometimes people get mixed up with thinking that that everyone who has the millions of followers and that you have to get those kind of influencers. And I kind of feel like I disagree. I actually prefer micro influencers because in the big name influencers, people are, I feel like, kind of becoming maybe a little bit more numb to the things that they're doing, just because that this is now their 100% job, right? Yeah. Micro influencers are still a little bit more relatable because that's not necessarily their full-time job. So,
and a micro influencer is somebody who has about 10,000 to, let's say, 50,000 fans. Does that seem fair? 10,000 plus. Whereas influencers people think are millions of fans. Doesn't have to be that way.
Right, exactly.
And you're saying it's more authentic to work with somebody with a little bit of a smaller following because this isn't their full-time job.
I think so.
Yeah.
And often businesses that have services, you can work with influencers too. Like I've seen, massage places or spas have days where they invite influencers in for free services, and those people chronicle that day on social media, which is really powerful.
It is.
I agree. Definitely. That's really all the other tips that I have for growing your Instagram following. Of course, if you want to know part 1 of growing your Instagram following, you can check out last week's episode on YouTube.
That's right. They're all there. We also have a blog where we post 8 times a week on the blog. So if you want to go back and look at any of our articles, you can sort it by channel. So go to our blog, which is KWSMdigital.com, and click on the Instagram button. It'll sort all of our articles on Instagram or any other social media channel that you'd like to know about. We're going to be back here next Tuesday, but if you need more resources until then, check out the blog, and then also check out our YouTube channel, which is KWSM Team. We have a lot of videos on that channel, either past episodes of this show or tips of the day, other types of video. And then if you really are in the Atlanta area and you really want to hunker down and learn more about channels like Facebook and LinkedIn, we are doing our social media boot camp here in Atlanta for the very first time. Comes up later this month. I think it's the 26th of July. That's our Facebook class. And August 2nd is our LinkedIn class. It's 3 hours of small group, hands-on coaching. You bring your laptop, you work on the channels in class. We'll walk you through the best ways to promote either your personal brand or your company on those channels. And we've taught this class for about 9 years, 3 times a year in Orange County. It's sold out every time. So it's really exciting to be able to bring it to our people here in Atlanta. And if you're interested, there's more information on that on our website too. Just look for the workshops tab. Otherwise, we will see you next week, same time, Tuesday at 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern time. And until then, I hope you have a good week. Bye.
Bye.